sun, chariot of fire, burning with desire as he runs the race. Half light, the moon is always knowing.
I will never forget the first time I saw a portal in the sky. It was humongous. It looked like a giant carousel, two giant carousels spinning in opposite directions. It was black in nature. After that occurred, I started noticing smaller carousels. They kind of looked like the flower of life everywhere that I looked. They were these small little flowers that moved in a system that was this black hole at the center of every petal. And each flower is moving in the pattern of the flower of life around me. And I would be able to spot these flowers just in front of me, no matter where I was, at all times, at all seasons. And it's obviously when I'm most in tune to being open to that. We're going to talk today about what a portal is, and I'm going to take you through the whole spiel so that you can understand them better, but you can also understand how they impact your life, whether you like it or not, and how to utilize that to your benefit. So first, I want to take you down to the microorganism to explain this. So in the human body, it's an ecosystem. And the smaller microorganisms that live within us, like parasites, for example, like bugs, like different things that are living inside of us. I know it's gross, but they are. Now, let's say I have a parasite that is causing me to eat a lot of sugar or be addicted to food when I don't need to be, or be attracted to the wrong foods. I am going to look to planet Earth, who is my higher up macrocosm to me, and I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to go to the ecosystem of planet Earth to help my ecosystem. And I might take some kind of probiotics or some kind of herbal remedy in order to mitigate the issues that that parasite is causing within my belly. And the parasite, imagine this small little guy, he's there all happy in my stomach, and he's like partying and whatever and doing his thing, and all of a sudden I take these pills and it unleashes on him and just like rains down on his environment and completely changes his ecosystem to the point where he can no longer survive. Usually this happens because all of these separate parasites are being installed, and these separate parasites do different jobs than he does that actually take him out altogether. Now, let's look at us being the parasite to the body of the earth. Now, depending on how we, as parasitic entities or microorganisms that are living on the earth's body, depending on how we're doing things and how we're reacting, and depending on how we're affecting her, she is going to look at her macrocosmic overlord or protector or higher up, and that is the multidimensional universe above her. And she is swimming in it. So you can look at the ethers or outer space like this multidimensional ocean. And what part of that multidimensional ocean, though there is always going to be this ocean that is the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension surrounding her, there are sometimes currents that come in from higher up, from higher levels of the dimensional realm, and come floating down to her sixth, fifth, and fourth dimensional realms that surround her. And sometimes she asks for these because she knows that her microorganisms or her earth beings need that, and it would be in their benefit to have that. And sometimes the cosmos that are working with her at all times, they feel like, okay, well, we're gonna bring this in right now because your earth beings or your children of earth kind of need this, or the plants and the animals are asking for this. When an energy comes in from the higher dimensional realms into the lower dimensional realms, you're not actually in the higher dimensions, but there is a current or a bridge or a portal that opens up between those two. And there are always currents and bridges and nodal points within the Earth's atmosphere and the higher dimensional atmosphere. There are always nodal points that are opened, but sometimes very specific ones open up in order to change up things around here on planet Earth. Why is this? Well, because the Earth and the cosmos are trying to help us humans learn some things. They're trying to help us grow in consciousness and develop a little bit, because the way that we're currently doing things is not only harming ourselves and each other, but it's also harming everybody around us. We are harming the earth, we're harming the plant life and the animals and the other microorganisms. So us growing in consciousness is not necessarily just a favor to us, it's actually a freaking necessity for the entire planet. The cosmos and the earth will get together and decide, okay, we're going to throw this current into your atmosphere in order to help the growth of a human, in order to help the growth of the collective humanity, or also in order to help the growth and the understanding of the earth herself to grow in consciousness, to be the body that can help us better, or to help the plant life and the plants grow in consciousness. Now, these currents come in, and they're essentially bridges between one understanding and nodal consciousness and another. There are these bridges, and these bridges look different and are different depending on what's coming in. So if what's coming in from the above is like this 11th dimensional current that is meant to teach us about love and understanding, it's going to look different. If it's a 6th dimensional current that's coming in from the Syrian beings, that's going to look different. So not only are these different dimensional nodal points happening and coming in as currents, but there's an entire plane on each dimension that has different groups of consciousness within that. So there might be the Syrian group of consciousness on the 6th dimension, and then there might be another group of beings like the Iranian Council on that same dimensional level. So there's all of these different groups of consciousness. There might be the Venetian beings or the Hathor beings. There might be on the 8th dimension the Arcturian beings. And then there are just all these different groups of consciousness. You can think of each dimensional level like 10 Earth bodies and 10 Earth solar systems of different groups of consciousness, of different areas of consciousness on each dimensional level to the infinity. That's exponentially humongous to the point where I can't even communicate it to you. But there's going to be these different beings, and there's going to be these different groups that come in, and they're like, okay, well, I feel like this understanding would help Earth right now. I feel like this would help humanity grow right now. So we're going to bring this in. So depending on what consciousness is coming in as a bridge, it's going to look vastly different from the next. Now, there may be consciousness forms that take the visual or sensational or auditory form of a different thing depending on what you're looking at. So you may be looking at a spinning sensation from one center point, or you may be looking at something that may look like an orange sun or a red sun. You may be looking at a different sacred geometric pattern that's coming in, or a specific sound when you're actually interacting with the portal itself. But whether you're extrasensory or not, and you can actually tune into these things on a sensational level, on a feeling level, on a visual level, on a hearing level, and on levels that we can't even communicate through the human senses, they are communicating with you. And so it's in your best interest to start paying attention to why they're there and how to identify what the different waves may feel like. So we're going to get super basic here. One wave may have the intention of a more yang-based energy and a more fiery energy. These kind of portals that come down to Earth are gonna basically create this fiery rain on an energetic level for every earth being. For those of you guys who have seen the 100, the last season, the red sun, one of the last seasons where the red sun comes out, it's kind of like that, where the impact of that portal makes humans do crazy things, like on the full moon, for example. So there's very major portals that we all kind of know about in the spiritual community, like full moon, new moon. These are all different portals and nodal points that are always there and always changing. And what portal comes in on the full moon and the new moon is always changing as well, right? Based on astrology, but also based on all of these other things that we can't even talk about or perceive, okay? Always changing. Then we have the thing like the equinox, the fall equinox is coming up, and the summer equinox, and the spring equinox. And the type of dimensional setup within the earth, so what astrologies are surrounding her, where her earth is at that time, based on where you are on that specific place on earth, all of these nodal points have very basic kind of energetic setups. But then there are all these things within the universe is atmosphere that is always changing what's being called in and interacted with based on the earth's atmosphere. So it's always changing. And there's major ones that we know about, like solar flares and solar eclipses and lunar eclipses and different things like this. There's like major times where like I know that's a portal. I know it's a major portal. But there are so many portals that we don't necessarily have a name for, or that only certain people are talking about, like the Lionsgate portal. But there's so many more that don't really have a real atmospheric relationship that we can understand as humans, other than astrology maybe. But there's so much more beyond astrology that's actually interacting with us. So one of these portals may come in like fire, like the energy of yang, or like fire. And what that means is when it's an essence, a foundational essence based off of fire, whatever energy is coming through in that current that is fiery is going to essentially create an atmosphere or a fiery rain throughout the earth that is going to energetically, we're consuming it whether we realize it or not. That's going to create a stream of consequences for the earth at that time. And so those consequences could look like any kind of foundational energy or current that's fire based or yang based is gonna be more like pushing us. And these are the kinds of things where it's like, you guys have been ignoring all the signals and the signs we've been sending you, and we need to turn up the heat on you guys for you to understand the consequences that you're currently opting into and facing for not just yourselves, but for everybody else at the same time. And so there's these fiery waves of consciousness. And whenever it's a fiery wave of consciousness, it's gonna feel really heavy. You're gonna notice that you are emotionally really heavy, really stunted. It's gonna feel like the earth means business. It's gonna feel like really heavy and intense, and usually it's indicated by things happening and changing in your life, or things happening and changing in someone else's life, and your friends and your family are coming up to you and you're like, man, it's really tough right now. Those are the fiery waves of consciousness that are coming in, and those waves are intended to heat the fire under everybody's ass so that we can change things in our life, and so that we can rise up to a different consciousness and be like, okay, I've got this. I'm going to start doing this better. And it does that through pressure, through heat, through intensity, and through that intention from the portal. What's it's going to do is it's going to interact with all the different multidimensional elements of your specific life, of your belief systems, of your law of attraction point, of the people in your life, of the way. So everybody is being affected by this fiery sun, let's just say. Everything in your life, every element of your life. And that's bringing a kind of like done with the business kind of energy. Like, this is not happening anymore. Something's got to give. We can't keep doing this way. And that usually turns into kind of like a boom, boom. The gauntlet is being just thrown freaking. And these kind of fiery energies are intended for things like waves of consciousness to come in, like relationships ending, things going wrong with your job, losing a job, things going wrong with a family member, conflict occurring, health problems coming up. It was kind of all hell breaks loose bad days where everything seems to just be going wrong. There's everything from tiny consequences to major consequences. So when you can be aware and start noticing that wave coming in from the earth, you need to be prepared. You need to immediately be like, I am in a fiery wave portal right now, and the universe means business. And if I can be prepared, I can be ready to adapt. I can be ready to get on board with whatever wave is coming. I can get ready to make myself more stable and more able to get on that wave when it hits me, because I'm not like just relaxed and chilling and everything's good. I'm like alert, prepared, and seeing how, when I jump on that wave, can I ride it the very best. Like if you're surfing, right, and you've chosen to be a surfer, well, when a massive wave comes up and knocks you off your surfboard and you're now drowning, you don't have a real choice but to figure out how to swim in that scenario. And that's what the earth is really doing when it's throwing you these fiery waves. It's like, okay, learn how to swim. And so you can't fight it. You can try. Those of you guys who are Harry Potter fans, do you understand Devil's Snare from the first movie? Where if you fight it, it chokes you harder. If you relax, it loosens up. Those are what the fiery waves are like. If you listen to what it's trying to tell you and get on board with it and fully embrace it and fully let it move you in the way it wants to move you, you can allow yourself to grow and become more consciousness. Whereas if you're resistance and fighting it and being like, oh, my life sucks, I hate this, blah blah blah, then you're fighting it in that moment. And that resistance makes perfect sense, because no one's just like, oh, this shitty thing is happening, I'm so grateful. No. But if you move through the resistance, then your next thing is, how do I respond? How do I react? What am I going to do about it? You need to move through the resistance so you're not staying stuck in this victim place or this face where you feel out of control and powerless and like you can't do anything about it. And you need to get into a place of moving through your emotions until you feel a sense of empowerment. And you can also do so by figuring out, where do I have control in this situation and where don't I have control in this situation. The next one we're going to be talking about is a water-based wave. When at the foundation, it's more watery in nature. This is a wave that feels more nourishing, more loving, more gentle. These are the kind of waves where the universe is giving you support, and the universe is like giving you love, and it's kind of coddling you a little bit, and it's like, here we go, honey. It's like singing you a lullaby, and it's giving you things that you need. And there's basically going to be all of these synchronicities taking place and all of these offerings happening around you, and the energy is going to feel like, you know, you're in this mania of like, oh yeah, things are happening, it's so great. And it's gonna feel like super light and super open and super good, and you're like, oh yes, this is working for me. You know, those kind of portals. The codes inherent in those kind of portals are more like things coming in as an offering to help you feel more full in your life and to help you expand in your life through these beautiful things happening and these things you've been asking for happening. And a lot of these things are an emotion or a feeling state that happens within you, and then something happens within the universe that's kind of this offering, and you have to be the one to take it, and you have to be the one to pay attention to it, and you have to be the one to get on board. And when you realize that you're in this kind of portal or this kind of energy, you have to be like on the ball for how to use it to your utmost nourishment. How can I get the most out of this? How can I do the most for myself in my life in this stage? Because it's this super loving, super supportive energy that's coming in to help you. The next one is more air-based, and this is when ideas are happening. I'm like, oh, what about this and this and this and this? And it's more of an expression-based portal, and those kinds of portal are like supporting you in this way that it's like, okay, now you have to move. Get all of the ideas out, possibly, and then you have to implement them and move, because the energy, like those idea-based portals are like this wave of air that comes in and it's like idea, 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 idea. So you have to milk those ideas for all they're worth and then start implementing them, because after that idea phase is over, the ideas are not accessible in the same way anymore. That rainstorm of brainstorm is not accessible anymore. And it's like, then the wave is going to change and you better be prepared, because those ideas were supposed to support you and help you in the next wave. And they were supposed to make you stronger in your life for what's coming next. The next wave we're going to talk about is an earth-based wave or a soil-based wave. These are the kind of waves where it's getting you grounded in reality. These are the kind of waves where it gets you grounded in your life, and this can be good and bad. It's supposed to get you more stable, more aware, more supported, more foundationally oriented, more structured, more organized. It's a very male energy of support, a more fatherly energy. The water and the water is more motherly, the air is more childlike, and the fire is more masculine, and but in a harsher kind of way. And the male energy is of the earth is kind of like the earth-based portal is kind of like more fatherly and more like containment and holding your hand, but in a kind of like, okay, I'm leading you, you need to go in this direction, but then it's also supporting you and providing an energy that you need in order to feel safe and secure and taken care of. And it's like really to pull you into your reality, pull you in a more connected state with your reality, with the earth herself, with your body, with your life, with your family relationships. This is this kind of time, and it's gonna feel like you're getting more stable, more grounded, more aware. You're a lot more physically focused. You're not really in your head a lot, you're not really in your emotions a lot. You're more like doing things and out there and moving and participating and interacting with the world around you. So I hope this helped you become more aware of the different portals that are going to come into your life in the coming year and so forth. And if you want to get more support in how to deal in these waves, my Reclaim Your Power e-course is a really great place to get it. It's 44 steps, 5 modules. You get hypnosis meditations, you get video trainings, you get written coaching work, and it's all this blueprint and this structure to face your ego and face life head on in the way that I myself have done so, and can see that people need to understand about moving forward from different levels of empowerment. And it can be applied from anywhere from a place of total suffering to I want a bit of power to every stage of empowerment, because there's different stages and we are on a journey of empowerment for the rest of our lives. So definitely check that out if you're interested. It is at a lower rate right now. Go to lushheartsblossoming.com to check that out. And thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you understand more about the energy that is portals.